My 36 sister N, 29, got pregnant at 18. I am infertile and knew I couldn't have kids, so when N said she was giving her baby for adoption, I decided to be her mom. N went no contact 5 months after giving birth. For a bit of background, N got pregnant by a one-night stand and she apparently didn't remember or know the father at the time of birth, but when V was 2, a man T, 35, messaged me on social media claiming to be the father of my child. N had run into him at a club and drunkenly confessed to the pregnancy. We met up, he bonded with his daughter, and well, that man is now my husband of 7 years. Coming back to my sister, she called me yesterday. Although I was surprised at her call, I picked up. We made some small talk, then she said she had just gotten married a year back and both of them wanted children but couldn't because her husband was infertile but really wanted kids. I asked her if she wanted to adopt and she said she would just need to get her baby back. I was speechless for a few moments before replying that if she wants to meet my child as an aunt she is welcome to, and we both can sit V down and explain the reason for her absence, but she can't just ask me to give up my child. She said she'll sue me as she's the birth mother. I told her she was out of her mind and I told her about T. She exploded, calling me names and saying I stole her life. I got too emotional and hung up. T came home from work and on explaining to him, he was beyond furious. I then got a call from my parents saying I was an idiot for telling N she couldn't see her baby. I said I never said that and I welcomed her to bond with V, but they refused to listen and said I was being insensitive and harsh and flaunting my family. I now feel bad because me and N were very close as sisters and I feel quite close to her situation since I know the struggles of infertility. T said there was no way he was letting my sister have full time, and I agree, but I want to know if I am the idiot for being too harsh and telling her about T. Edit. I did legally adopt V at birth. T adopted her too after we got married. N never wanted kids and I feel the only reason she wants V now is because her husband wants kids. I don't know, but I think this is it and T agrees. Not the idiot there. She wants to take her 10-year-old daughter back after having no contact with her. Just because she's your sister doesn't give her any social, emotional or legal superiority. As long as the adoption was done legally, then V is your daughter and the birth mother is just her estranged aunt. Your family are ridiculous for not listening to you rather than equally hearing both sides of a story. Not the idiot. It's not her baby anymore, she gave that up. You don't get to demand a take back on an adoption. Especially after you've had so long to bond with the child who likely views you and your husband as her parents. Your husband is her parent by the sound of it, which gives her even less ground to demand V back. She's revoked her parental rights. End of story. Your sister's feelings are understandable, but she's being selfish and unreasonable. She could have built a relationship with your daughter from the beginning, but didn't. Now, she suddenly wants a kid and figures it's nice and convenient that you have bluntly been keeping one warm for her. No consideration for the child whatsoever. I, 24, work as a chef at one of the famous restaurant chains in our city known for its delicious food. We used to work non-stop all the day as our orders, were really high, pre-pandemic. Needless to say, but our restaurant closed down during this lockdown and I'm staying home. I really love cooking and I enjoy it so much. As I have lots of free time, I do try out many recipes and upload vlogs often. My sister-in-law's, 25, son's first birthday is coming up soon and she asked me if I was willing to do cake. Obviously, I said yes. The party is going to take place in my in-laws' house, which is like 2 to 3 hours drive from where we are, and it's been a long time since we saw each other. Yesterday, she called me again to ask if I can cook for the party. Overall, there will 10 to 13 person at the party. All vaxxed. I wasn't sure at first. She told me she'll help me and gave me a list of what she wants. It was around 4 to 5 main traditional dishes with 3 side dishes and along with some cupcakes as desserts. I said it was too much even for both of us and asked her if we can order from outside. But she insisted she wanted my cooking as our family loves to eat my food. I told her I'll call her back later. I gave it a thought, but in end, I didn't want to. First of all, it's for more than 10 people and the dishes she gave requires 3 to 4 hours for prep plus actual cooking, which means I've to get there earlier than the others. Second, she told me she'll help, but she will slack off in the middle and would always ask obvious questions even if I give clear instructions. Happened before. Third, I'm already preparing the cake, so I feel like it's more than enough. I texted her back I didn't want to. She then vented out to my partner and told him that I'm not cooking for his family even though I've cooked before for my family. My family is comparatively small than his. Seems like she expressed that the whole family is disappointed with my behavior. It was frustrating when my partner confronted me and I told him that I'm already doing the cake and it feels like she's just using me. I stated my above reasons, but he still wants me to cook since my cooking is delicious and they all love it. I straight away told him that I'm not his family's personal chef and if they want to eat, they can gladly order out. He is still mad, I guess, and has been passive aggressive the whole day. So am I the idiot? Edit. Wow. Huge, thanks for all your responses. I just went through your comments and suggestions. Few people asked if she offered to pay for my service. No. As much as I know, she won't. Also, I hope she'll buy the ingredients. If not, it's obviously no for me. I'm not sure, but there's a chance of her bringing up the topic of splitting the bill. I won't let her to do so. Also, some suggested to make a list of work to be done and send it to her along with the costs. It's actually a great idea. So I'm thinking of sending her all the workloads to be split up between us, or else I've to get professional help, the cost of ingredients, pay of sous chefs, caterer, if hired, and as well as mine. I'm not gonna charge them for real, but just for the context to scare her lol. Overall, I'm gonna make sure that I need extra hands and pay in advance, and if anything changes, I'm not doing it. I'm also sending the list to my partner so that he knows how much work is needed and that he shouldn't take me for granted. As you all told, she wants me to work for free, which I can't. So I guess me sending her a huge list along with the costs will be a surprise. So I pretty much accept her to back off and order out, hire people. Not the idiot. I'm assuming she's also expecting you to bring a gift for her child? That makes you a guest, not the host. Also, she may be offering you help now, but who is going to do the prep and set up for the party? I would tell her that you are already doing her a favor by doing the cake and you would like to enjoy the party and not do all the work. Also, this may be a cultural difference, but I have never heard of having such extravagant food for a 1-year-old's birthday party. I don't know why they don't understand that cooking for that many people takes a lot of time and effort. A cake is something that can be baked at home, then brought to their house. Main dishes, not so much. Maybe you can compromise and make an easier dish as well as the cake at home and bring them to the house, warming the dish when you arrive and they can order everything else? That's a very last minute to demand you cater the whole party instead of just doing a cake. There's buying the ingredients, prep, making what you can at home, working out how to transport it a couple of hours in the car and final stuff on site. Definitely not a one-person job, and this brief should have been given to you at the point the cake request was made. So I am in my 20s and I recently bought an apartment in my country's capital city. The apartment is great. Way underpriced, and compared to where I lived previously it's a massive step up. Regardless, I have been having one big issue since the moment I moved in here. So after purchasing the apartment and having a good look at it, I realized that my big balcony was directly next to my neighbor's big balcony. I have got 2 balconies, a tiny one and a big one. They are not attached, but essentially there is a small 50 cm gap between them. That's it. At first I figured this would not be an issue, but from the moment I moved in it has been extremely bothersome. My neighbors are practically living on their balcony, and since they are both retired they are home pretty much 24/7. Whenever I think I have a moment to myself there, I end up sitting down and within 30 minutes I suddenly get one of them engaging into conversation with me. This is usually while I am falling asleep, I might add. I love sitting in late afternoon sun after a long day of work and having a nap with a glass of wine. At first I assumed it was a one-time thing, but it has happened every single time. Every single time I go out there and sit down, one of these people joins me and starts sharing their life story, and I was just so sick of it. The final drop came when I was having a gathering with a bunch of friends and these people legitimately asked me why they weren't invited via the balcony. I decided to get a divider type thing. I never heard it existed before, but apparently it's a common problem, as I found a bunch very quickly. It arrived, I installed it, and now there is a wall between the two of us. It's not big, thick, or obnoxious. It literally just hinders their sight to me and mine to them. It just divides the spaces and doesn't block their sun or some crap. I figured it was fine, but I have since had them over to complain that I am being kind of an idiot for making it obvious that I don't want them around, and they have been really rude to me whenever I run into them in the building since. Not the idiot for wanting privacy. Even if you'd been more upfront, almost always the more mature approach, and they'd agreed and stopped engaging you, they'd still be out there on a balcony less than 2 feet away. It's pretty bold to ask why a balcony neighbor didn't invite you to a party, so I don't blame you for not wanting to get into a potentially tense conversation with them. Not the idiot. If people can't be courteous enough to not speak to someone who is practically asleep in their own space, then I doubt even having a conversation about it would have worked. I'm sure they are very sweet people, they are just probably stir crazy being home all day only conversing with their spouse. Oftentimes people lose their social skills when they aren't with different people anymore, throw in COVID restrictions, and this is what happens. These neighbors decided that the closeness of your balconies made you into close friends who have to share all one on the balcony. The divider was a great idea and I hope it's working out well. These neighbors actually sound pretty awful, calling you an idiot for not wanting to hang around with them all the time. Ignore them when they're rude, don't even make eye contact. Say nothing. Make them invisible. I lost my sister almost 9 years ago. She was my only sibling and my best friend. I looked up to her and really loved her. Needless to say, we were very close. I was 17 when she passed away. Now fast forward 9 years later, I am 26, almost 27, married and soon to be father of a beautiful baby girl. When we found out we were having a girl, I asked my wife what she thought about naming our daughter after my late sister. She was on board. We also picked out a middle name that meant a lot to my wife's family. So OFC, we were all happy. A couple days later, me and my friends were on a casual Zoom call and someone asked what we were naming her, and I mentioned the name thing as well as how much both names meant to us. Everyone was happy and that was that, or so I thought. Well, a couple days later, one of the friends on the Zoom call announced that his girlfriend was 7 months pregnant. None of us had any idea, but we're happy for him nonetheless. Now you can probably guess where this is going. I am going to keep this short. Apparently that night he was just telling her how everything went and he mentioned my daughter's name and his GF just loved it so much that she just couldn't even picture a different name. They were keeping the gender a surprise and weren't settled on a name. He thought she would change her mind by the time the baby was born, and well, she didn't. They copied not only the first name but also the middle name. I was livid when I first found out. I went over to his house to talk about it. Well, his parents, who know me since college, were there too and asked me what was wrong when saw us arguing from the window. I told them everything and they were upset too, enough to give a good lecture to both my friend and his GF. Another thing to note is that I made it clear as day that me and my wife will not be changing our kid's name. Both the kids will probably go to the same school. Now, a few of my friends and him and his GF are blowing up mine and my wife's phone, calling us inconsiderate and idiots for telling his parents and not even thinking about a name change since it is technically theirs now. I do feel like it will make it a little difficult for both the girls to have the same name and the same middle name since both names aren't super common. Not to mention they will most likely be in the same grade. My question here is, am I being an idiot for 1, telling his parents and getting them in trouble, and 2, for not considering a name change? Technically, you cannot steal a name. But not the idiot, because how can they suggest that you should be the one to change it? It was a name that meant a lot to you. You came up with it first, so the other folks should have been more original. Not the idiot, but really at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. There's a good chance your friendship with fade as you age. I mean, how close are you that you didn't even know his girlfriend was 7 months pregnant? You still have 5 years before they're school aged and one of you may move. Even if they do end up at the same school, they will have different last names and everyone will know who your daughter was named after, and people will know they copied you. Not the idiot. Just reply to every text that's my dead sister's name. That may shut them up. I lost my sister too, so I know how bad that hurts. I plan on naming my future child after her also, and I wish you all the luck in the world with this situation and your new baby when she comes. I, 25, started my master's program last year right before the world became dystopian. My boyfriend, 34, and I have been together for 4 years and he has watched me scrimp and save in order for me to afford to go to school. I mean, I was very poor. Anyways, for Christmas this year he surprised me with a really nice and expensive computer since all of my school is online. I was incredibly grateful for the gift and did not expect it at all. In fact, I told him he needed to return it because my old computer was fine. He assured me this was my gift to do what I needed in order to graduate school. However, this was the first very expensive gift my boyfriend has bought me. He's bought me some jewelry that was around $100, which I consider to be expensive, but this computer was in the thousands. What I did not expect was how this computer was going to be used as a bargaining tool for months to come. Every week, he'll ask me for money. When I say no, we really need to save this for blank fund, he'll say, well, we could have did that with you, computer, but I still got it for you, so you owe me. It's been several conversations like this, both joking and serious, about how I owe him for the computer. I've had several conversations about this with him and told him I don't appreciate how he's using this computer for leverage when he wants me to get him something. He'll apologize, but a week later brings it up again. It's become such a source of contention that I told him I was going to sell the computer and buy a cheaper one and give him back a bulk of the money. I didn't like having this expensive of a computer anyways and did find it to be a waste of his money. He told me to not, which resulted in a big argument. I firmly told him that it's my gift and I can do what I want with it. I'm unsure if he thought I was bluffing or not, but I sold my computer today to a good friend who paid near brand new price. I bought myself a cheaper laptop and gave him the bulk of his money back. He is furious at me for not keeping his very nice gift, however, I felt like it was the only way to solve the conflict. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. But honestly, I'd consider this a huge red flag. I hate to bring it up, but he is a lot older than you and using money and gifts to try to manipulate you is very concerning behavior. He was holding it over your head. That's not a gift, that's a bargaining chip used to control and manipulate you. I hope you saved enough money for some counseling, because there are some huge red flags regarding the power dynamics, manipulation and control that could manifest badly down the road. Not the idiot, but he is angry you got rid of the thing he can use to force your obedience. This is a type of financial abuse and is a massive red flag. Keep the money but run. It was a gift after all. My guess is this is the tip of the iceberg of manipulation tactics. Remember, when we love someone we often excuse stuff like this. Also, if raised with abuse it can seem normal. It isn't.